don't kid yourself, Femi, thinking this Watson contract hasn't really stalled some of these other quarterbacks. It really has. I mean, why shouldn't Lamar get all guaranteed?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he get it all guaranteed? Why shouldn't why shouldn't Russell Wilson, when he redoes his deal, shouldn't get all guaranteed? I think Russell Wilson's deals hold up because of the new ownership group coming in. Eventually, they're going to sell that team. We know why Baker Mayfield hasn't been able to get a new contract. Of course, he doesn't have a team. But, Kyler Murray, to me, is the most dangerous of all of them, because are you sure you want to put him in this category? You think Kyler Murray's going to take $35 million a year? And of course not. You think he's going to take, he's going to want to be paid what Josh Allen is at 43, and he's not the same player.
Yeah.
I don't know. Steve Keim said we're going to get it done this summer. He's kind of nonchalant about it. But, if I were Steve Keim, I think it's the worst place I could be in football. I got a good player. I don't know if he's a great player. Can't stay healthy. Doesn't play well when he's hurt. He's played in almost all the games. But there's a variance we see clearly with Kyler Murray when he's healthy and when he's not.
Yeah.
That would scare me to death.
And the Cardinals have probably some trepidation in terms of paying Kyler Murray, but what Keim said on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, he said that they're going to pay him and then they feel like something will get done later this summer. That situation with Kyler's agent being Cliff's agent, the whole situation just seems weird to me, and I'm sure it'll get worked out, but Kyler has said he's not going to step foot on the football field until he gets that new contract. And if you're the Cardinals, once again, my question is, what is the alternative if you don't pay Kyler Murray? Am I comfortable paying Kyler Murray $45 million a year? No, but do I have to? Probably yes. It's kind of how I look at it.
No, you don't. No, you don't,
okay.
Because you got 2 more years. You got 2 more years. You got this year and you got next year. And if he doesn't want to play football, then that's his choice. He's going to get his contract's going to get told. Look, the other thing is are we sure he's a great leader on this team? You watch the body language of him during games. Do you want to pay that for a guy? I don't. I don't want to do that. I think to me, I respect the talent. I respect the beep beeps. I respect that, that he's running around out there. But I don't buy into it. I'm not buying. I'm not sold that it's worth 45. I don't know how anybody could be. I don't know how anybody could be, including Cliff. Including Cliff.
Well, the reason why I say that I feel like you have to pay me is because if he doesn't play, we're probably all getting fired because we're going to win 4 games. Like if he doesn't play, I think it's a disaster for Arizona.
Look, Colt McCoy's won a couple games for him. He went up to Seattle and won a game. He went, in San Francisco, he won a game. I don't think Colt McCoy's good enough. He won't stay healthy long enough for the season. I don't think Trace McSorley's going to be able to be the answer either. But, to me is I just don't know how you put this guy. I don't know how you're going to be able to get a deal done and say, okay, Derek Carr just got done for $40 million a year, basically, with $65 million of it guaranteed. And so, is that the deal you want to do? You want to do Matthew Stafford's deal? Do you want to do Dak Prescott's deal? That's kind of when we do the top quarterbacks, which we're going to do blue chip and red chips, we're going to start that 10 weeks before the season starts. Is he a blue chip? No. I'll tease that. He's not a red chip. He's not a blue chip player. He's not the top 5 player at his position.
No.
There's no way. There's no way he's the top 5 player. So but you're going to pay him like that because you feel like you have to? I don't see it. I don't really see it. If you just go through it, you got Brady, Herbert, Burrow, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. There's your blue chips. You want your reds? You got Stafford, Mahomes, Carr, Prescott. I got Mahomes as a red chip based on his play last year.
Wow. Uh-oh. Don't give away the goods, Michael. Don't give away the goods.
But you got to look at the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll kick this. But that's the reality. Tell me who should be the next guy. Is it based on the numbers, based on all the things? Where is this all coming from?
Yeah, and Kyler, I've always been a Kyler believer just because I believe in the talent, but the durability concerns that you outline are very fair. And that's something that is probably what's scaring the Cardinals a little bit because, like you mentioned, when he gets hurt, he's not the same guy when he's not able to do his agile moves in the pocket. And when the beep gets taken away.
Yeah, when he can't beep. Look, it's and then when you rush him the right way, watch the games. When you rush him the right way, it's hard. Like, I don't know how you pay him. I don't know how you pay. Like, there's a deal to be made for him. It's just not I don't see it like, unless he does something. Why do you think, let's work backwards on this. Why do you think he's demanding a deal now?
Because he wants his money. He wants security.
It's a little bit like, why did Rich Strike not run the Derby, the Preakness? Because they know this is the highest level Rich Strike's ever had in terms of breeding fees. And if he loses and finishes in 8th place in an 8th race in the Preakness, those fees come down. If Murray's the same thing, he doesn't want to he wants to get paid and then pay for on the come, not pay for what I've done. It's the greatest thing in sports is you got to buy this. It's like, why did Sean Bradley not work out for teams during the NBA draft? Because David Falk didn't want anybody to really see what was there. And so you bought on spec. And the 76ers got screwed. It's the same reason. Like, he doesn't want to go out there and compete. Like, if I were Kyler Murray, you would say, well, just go out there, compete, and maybe we'll even get better than Rodgers' deal or Watson's deal. But he wants to get paid now for what has he accomplished? It's a great strategy because it forces you to have to make a commitment. And if you're like Keim and you're saying it's going to get done because you're trying to make the player happy, it's never going to work.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's injury security for Kyler Murray. And also, in fairness to him, money today is better than money tomorrow. I'd rather have money. If you're going to pay me the money, I'd rather take it as well.
I would. But what's the sense of having a 5-year deal when you're a quarterback in the first pick overall and you're starting to rip it up after year 3? You know, I mean, if you've taken me to the playoffs and we won playoff games like Josh Allen did, okay, great, we'll do it. Like, I know who you are after this point. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, I don't really know who you are right now. Like, I think I see moments of being, but you're asking me to pay on speculation. Like, that never works.
No, it's a little bit of a risk there for Kyler Murray. Let's play the game of let's look for an alternative. There's a quarterback that's out there, former number 1 overall pick as well, used to play for Cliff Kingsbury way back when in college when he was at Texas Tech. Baker Mayfield. Would they ever think about bringing in Baker Mayfield to this Arizona Cardinals camp if they didn't want to pay Kyler Murray?
Well, I think, to me, that's a move I would make. I would try to bring in. Now, they don't have a cap room. That's the other biggest issue, is they don't have cap space. I mean, when you bring Murray in, you've got to have cap room. The Cardinals don't. The Cardinals are going to just barely be able to get their rookie signed, so they don't have that $18 million to take on their deal. Now maybe if they redo a deal, they could do something, but they've pretty much exhausted those options. So I don't see that. That was a move I would have made if I would have been Keim and I got that letter. I would say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like, I'll bring Mayfield in for a year. You coach him, see what's going on. Like, once you become hostage to you've got to do this, this mentality never has worked. Either you pay or you're going to lose. Like, that never works because you're going to get into a bad contract. It happens every year in the NBA. All these bad contracts are, well, if we don't pay the guy, we're not going to be very good. Well, you're going to not be very good when you pay him.
But also, with the cap going up, is that also a reason to pay somebody now? Because the TV deals are going to get done. I mean, Apple's probably going to take over NFL Sunday Ticket. The revenue, the NFL, they're not hurting for money. The salary cap could go up, which could alleviate some of these big money kind of quarterback deals. Because to me, it almost looks like $40 million a year is the new $30 million a year. Like a decade ago, if you told us that quarterbacks were making $40 million a year, we'd have been like, that's insane. But now that's just cost of doing business.
It is the cost of doing business, but I it's still, is he worth it? I mean, look, there's always that fallacy of nobody's really worth the money. But I mean, when you make that commitment, you're basically eating a huge portion of your paycheck, of your cap to the player. Can he carry you? Is he going to be able to carry you through it? And are you going to feel comfortable that he can play great for 17 games? I don't have the answer to that. Like, I think there's moments where, and this is what happens with a lot of guys that flash. When you see the flashes, you fall in love. But when the flashes aren't there and he's no longer healthy and he can't move, go back and watch the last game of the year. Watch the Seattle game. I mean, just watch that tape. Like, somebody, it's like when they were sitting there talking about Chet Holmgren being the first pick overall. Is somebody going to put the Arkansas tape on and watch that? Like, are we watching that game, or are we not going to pay attention to that? Like, at some point, like, are we going to watch the Seattle game where where basically we weren't very good, or the Ram game where we got destroyed? had 183 yards of total offense in the Rams game. We had 305 against a bad Seattle team. I mean, are we going to talk about that? How about the Indianapolis game where we couldn't, we're playing at home, we couldn't win that on Christmas Day?
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, it was I bet. But everybody has short memories on this stuff. It's like, okay, you got to pay them. Well, that's because the media says you got to pay them. That doesn't mean you have to pay them. You got to have options. You got 2 years. It's like Tony told Pussy, Puss, you got options. You got options. You got options. Steve Keim's got options. He just keeps giving it away. Well, we're going to get it done. Like, Steve, what are you going to pay him? 45, 48? Like, are you going to get lifts in his shoes too when you give him all that money?
Give him some longer cleats. I'm one who has fallen in love with the Kyler Murray, the talent there, but I hear what you're saying, and it's going to be a fascinating thing over the course of this offseason.
Let me ask you this, Femi. Let me ask you, since you're having this love affair and you're smooching all the way to the drive-in.
I love me some talent, Michael.
How many fourth quarter comebacks did he have last year?
I mean, off the top of my head, I can't really tell you how many he had.
He had one. He had one game-winning drive. Over his career, in 3 years, in 46 games, he's had 5 fourth quarter comebacks. That's it. 5.
Yeah. But what I think of is the first time they played the LA Rams and that Rams defense that ended up leading them to the Super Bowl, he made them look silly. There has to be a middle ground here with Kyler. And I get what you're saying about the ceiling or the floor might be low, but the ceiling is also there as well.
All right. He let them back against Detroit. Okay. He let him back against a bad Cincinnati team in 19. He let him back against an Atlanta team in 19. Then in 20, San Francisco, Seattle, Buffalo, Philly. And then last year it was the Minnesota game. That was it. One game. I want to see more. Aren't I entitled to see more before I get $48 million out, or I should just pay it?
No, you are entitled, and he's only been in the league for 3 years. So, like you mentioned, he has 2 years left on that deal, but he's going to want the money now that he's eligible for it. But to me, I just always think of, okay, if we don't pay him now, he's clearly going to be pissed off even if he comes back.
He's pissed off now. You can't make him happy. This guy's perpetually pissed off all the time. Look at his body language on the field. He's always pissed off. He shows no leadership skills whatsoever. None. Nobody can deny that. The guy shows no leadership skills on the field at all. And he shows less off the field. Okay, I'm not coming. Even though I'm under contract, I'm not coming to OTAs. Okay, don't come to OTAs. You were so good last year. Don't even bother coming. I just think we fall in love with this one play. I think I marvel at his speed, his quickness. But when it's the fourth quarter of a game in the playoffs and you rush him the certain way and you contain him in the pocket, he's the mayor of Munchkinland. He's short. He needs lifts.
Maybe we can pay him and trade him to New Orleans or some team that needs a quarterback.
You couldn't run New Orleans scheme with him in there. You couldn't. You couldn't run that scheme because you got to be able to get him on the move. You got to get him out of there. He can't see. Same problem with Baker. They both can't see. And then you worried about him getting hit.
Thanks for watching the GM Shuffle with Michael Lombardi. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to VSiN Live and the GM Shuffle podcast with Michael Lombardi, presented by DraftKings and VSiN, wherever you get your podcasts.